Hello, welcome to this subnetting lecture. I'm going to tell you or show you what subnetting is all about, why we do it, and the methodology. Now, before we start, I'm going to show you difference between IPv4 and IPv6 and why we are subnetting, the essence of this subnetting. Now, if I go to my terminal, and click on this, my terminal, if I type, let me increase the font size. If I type ifconfig, you can see that from this result, this is my interface. You can see that this inet is my IPv4. This particular one is my IPv6. This is my netmask. This is my broadcast ID. That means the last IP address. And this is my MAC address. This is the IPv4. Now, if I also do something like IPA, you will see that we have 192.168.8.129 / see this one is there's no slash or whack, you can call it whack, but here we have slash, this /24 network. So this broadcasts the broadcast address, and this is IPv6 with /64, and that's all you need to know. Now, why do we have IPv6? We have IPv6 because IPv4 was being used up. If you want to know the number of IPv4 that should be available, let me show you from this my little maths. Now, this IPv4 and IPv6. If you come here, see that this is 128 divided by 2, you get 64. Divided by 2, you get a 2. Divided by 2, divided by 2, divided by 2, you get this one. Divided by 2, you get 1. Now, if all these bits are turned on, you get 255. If some of them are turned off, you just add. How do I get this 255? 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1, 255. If all of them are turned on. Now, see this particular one. These ones are turned off. You can do 1. This 8, because this 8 is turned on. 8, this 4 is turned on. Plus 4 plus 2 plus 1. IP address is just ones and zeros. We are binaries. Now, this particular one, it presents the fixed octet value. These have 4 sections. Section 1. IPv4 have 4 sections. Section 2, Section 3, Section 4. Now, this is across all octets. This for the fixed. This one, we assume this one is for the fixed octet like this. That's why I represented it once. If all of them are turned on, this one is for this one, for IPv4. This one is for this one. This one is for this one. And this last one is for this one. If you add all of them, it's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The same thing applies there. If you add all 8, it's 32. Now, 2 raised to power 2 is the total number of IPv4 that should be available. Now, when they saw that IPv4 is being used up and large corporations are purchasing it, now they decided to create what is called subnets. Subnet, kind of dividing network into subnetwork, so I can be able to manage this IPv4 efficiently. This private IP address. Now, this IPv6, this number of IPv6 that should be available, 2 raised to power 128, is a very massive number which I cannot even pronounce. Now, we use NAT, which is network address translation, to assign this private IP address to public IP address. So your ISP is going to lease public IP address to you, and it's going to be translated using this word NAT, network address translation. Now, if you go back to our terminal back, see our terminal. As you see, this thing looks familiar. 192.168.129. I mean 129 on /24 network. This is my broker's ID. That means the last IP address. I told you that this is the where is it? ETH0. ETH0. If you do it from here, so that this one ETA is your MAC address. If you want to know this MAC address, you can just copy this first three. If you want to know the manufacturer of this MAC address, copy this first three and come to this particular place. Come to this particular place and paste it here. And click on lookup. I'm in a website called arudaijohn.com. Just type IP lookup. It will bring you to this multiple website. Now click on this link. Now as you can see, the vendor of this mark is called what? VMware. So that is it. That's MAC address, but we are dealing with IP address. Now that's what we call private and public IP address. What we're considering is private IP address. If you go to this particular image, you see that we have private IP address. So what we are dealing is what? Private IP address. We are dealing with private IP address. Now you see this class C network. We are in class C network 192.168 all the way to 192.168.255.255. This 255 is when all the bits are turned on. This is the network mask. This is the number of network. This is the number of hosts it can accommodate. That means total number of devices that can connect to it, which is 254. Available devices that can connect to it is 254. That is available to us. This class B, this class C is usually used by individuals or small corporations or small organizations because of the host number of hosts is 254. Now, if you need a higher number of hosts, you can go to class B network, which is 65,024. This is the private IP address, either 192.168 or 192.16 or 10. So that is a private. Now, for larger corporations like big companies, they can use class A network, which has the number of hosts as 16 million. We don't need this loopback address. Now, let me open my cheat sheets. Like what I told you, this is the first octet, second octet, third octet, last octet. If this is 128 divided by 2, 64 divided by 2, 1 divided by 16 divided by 2, that's how we all the way to 1. The same thing applies here, and applies here. Now, if all the ones are switched on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I said it before, 128 plus 64 will give you 255. If all the ones are switched on the second octet, remember this IPv4 address, private IP address, you have 128.64, it will give you this one. The same thing applies to here. Now, none of them is switched on. You have what? 0. This /24 is number of bits that are switched on. If you count this 8, this 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, this 24 /24 network. Now, the number of hosts is being calculated by the number of bits that are switched off. If I switched off this bit, look at this particular place, be looking at this number of hosts and the formula. If I switched off this thing, which is what? 0. Are you seeing? We have 2 raised to the power 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is no 2 raised to the power 9. 9 bits have been switched off. You get the host. Number of hosts that will be accommodated is what? 512. So this, I'm talking about what? Subnetting. Now let me switch it back to 1 again. Now if you go to the subnet cheat sheets, this particular subnet cheat sheet, you see that this CIDR called classless interdomain routing. That is what it's called. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, we have 5, we have 6, we have 7, we have 8. Once I go to exam, that's the first thing I will write. If you are not allowed to use internet maybe to write your exam, I'll just write 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me show what I will do. I'll just come and write write 1, hold control all the way to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I write 9 here. That is rough sheet when I'm writing an exam. All the way to what? 9, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 16, sorry. I'll come and write what? 17 here. And drag it across, hold control key. I'm trying to show you what I mean. Come here, it's 25. And now drag it all the way towards 32. Now we have something like what? Here, this place we have what? This, if all of them are turned on, you have what is called subnet of 255.0, as I said, .0.0. This is subnet max. If all of them are switched on here, you put the first one followed by the second one, which is 255.255.0.0. The third one is what? 255.255.255. Zero. The one we are considering is this one. Once this one is the 8, is filled up. That's why we have this one. So if it's at 7, you see after this one, we are only interested in changing this first one. This second one is that this first one is filled up. So we're only interested in this second one. Let me increase the okay. Now the last one is what? We add all this 255, which is what? 255.255.255.255. We're only interested in changing this. You can call this in X. Like here, it is called what? X. That's one we're changing. Changing this one, and changing. That's one we're interested in altering. Now, if you want to get the number of the subnet max, can do something like this. Let me write host here. Host. I'll now write 128 will be under this particular one. Divided by 2, we have what? 64. Divided by 2, we have what? 32. Divided by 2, we have what? 16. Divided by 2, we have what? 8. Divided by 2, we have what? 4. Divided by 2, we have what? 2. Divided by 2, we have what? 1. I want to get the subnet mask here. I will show you what I mean. Now, if I come here, for me to get the subnets, call this one subnets. You understand what I mean better? That's what I used to do in the exam. I also bring there this 128. You know it decreases. Now I do this 128 plus 64 diagonally. 128 plus 64 will give you what? 192. 192 plus 32 will give you a diagonal. Add it diagonally. 192 plus 32 will give you what? 224. 224 plus 16 will give you a 240. 240 plus 8 will give you a 248. 248 plus 4 will give you a 252. 252 plus 2 is what gives 254. 254 plus 1 is what? 255. That's when it's filled up. Now, if they give us something like this, assuming they give us something like this, maybe 192.168.1.0/24, and they tell us to find the what? The subnet mask, the number of hosts, the network ID, and the broadcast IP. Now, how do I get this one? the subnet is what? You go to this /24, this /24, and we're only changing this one. Is what? Subnet mask is what? Let me just write it here. Assuming they say we should find the subnet mask, and secondary, let me expand this thing. And secondly, they say we should find what? The real hosts available to us. This is the real host. The real hosts available to us. Next thing, we are going to find the network ID, which is the first IP. Network ID. Last one will be what? Last will be what? Broadcast IP. I want to prove something to you. Broadcast IP. Network. I got this spelling wrong. Now, the subnet mask is what? /24. We have 255.255. Look at the one we are going to utter, which is what? It's also filled up, which is 255.0. The subnet mask is here. 255.255.255.0. That's subnet mask. The real host available to us, I will show you how we get the real host. Is number of bits that are turned off, as you can see. So among your how many number of bits are turned off? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 raised power 8 is what? 250. You can see it from here. 2 raised power is what? 256 with -2, which is the broadcast IP and the what? Network ID, the first IP and the last IP, usually taken by the network. So I want to get the real hosts. So 256 minus is what? 254. That is the real IP. The real hosts that can connect to it. Network ID is the first ID. Usually it should be the first ID. This first IP is network ID. So it should be what? 192.168.1.0. Now the broadcast IP is what? The last IP. Just add it to this one, which is 192.168.1.255. That's the last IP. Now let's move forward. Ctrl C. I want to paste it here. Ctrl V. That copy everything right. Okay. Now you saw it how it's written here. Number of hosts is what? 256. From here you see hosts double each increase of CIDR. Always subtract 2 from the hosts. Network ID is the first address. Broadcast ID is the last address. Now let's do another one. If we do something like 192.168.16/28, so to be a subnet mask, where is /16? See the /16 network. So /28, sorry, where is /28? Is here. So you have 255.255.255. We only change this X. Look at it, said replace X with this thing. So it's what? 248. So what we're going to here is what? 255.255. This is /28. 255.255.255. We only change this last one. Say subnet must replace X with whatever is under it. So it's going to be 255 dot what? 248. because no, 240, sorry. 2020 is 240. The real host is what? 16. 16 minus is what? 4. You have subtracted the first ID and the last ID, which is what? 4. 14, sorry. The real host is what? 14. The first network ID, which is the first address, is usually the first address, which is 192.168.1.16. 192.168.1.16. Broadcast address is what? The last address. So it will be what? The last address. We don't take that one. So add 1 here to 40 is 15. So it will be what? 192.168.1 dot what? 15. That is it. There are other ones you can do. So this is how subnetting works. So you can use this cheat sheet for it. We counted from 1 to 32, almost the same thing we did here. 1 to 32. 1 to 32. We'll now put the subnet mask for this one. We are only interested in this 0. If it's filled up here, to be what? 255. We are interested in this second one. First one is filled up already. This first, if it's filled up, is what? 255 in this X. If it's not, it's what is under here. What is under here? Third one, the same thing. This X is what? What is under here? Under the /24 network. Now, you'll be asking, what is the importance of this subnetting? If you have heard about security zone, you understand what I'm saying. It helps in segmenting the network. And second, I told you that because the number of IPv4 IP address is about to finish, IPv4 to be precise. Now IPv6 came into existence, but now they have decided to subnet the network. IPv6 is there, but nobody's. I don't know for now. Many people are not using it. So if you want to achieve more IP with your network, use what? Subnet. Like what you are seeing here, router. This desktop is connected. This desktop is connected. They are going to subnet it. Here is being subnetted. Router using the public IP. The NAT we're going to convert it to this private IP address. Now let's read through this. It said subnet is the process of dividing a network into smaller networks called what? Subnets. Or simply, subnetting is a subdivision of network into logical groups called subnet. It works like a network inside a network. Subnetting allows network professionals and analysts or security analysts to create a network within their own network without requesting another IP address from the internet service provider. You don't need another IP address. You're just going to create a network within a network. It allows for more efficient use. Subnetting is commonly used in IPv4 network, like I said. Subnetting involves borrowing bits from the host portion of an IP address to create a subnet address. By doing this, a network can be divided into multiple subnets, each with its own IP address. Now we have classless interdomain routing. Is a method used to represent IP address and their corresponding subnet. CID notation is expressed by appending a /. The more of 255, the less of two hosts. I've said this in before. So if you want to know whether you are correct, you can go to this website called what? IP address guide. IP address guide. This particular one is called ipaddressguide.com/CIDR, classless interdomain routing. Now you paste the subnet you want, like the one we did, the last one we did is what? 192. This is a private IP address, CCNA network .168.1.16/28. If you calculate it, you see that now I'm telling you, the first IP, the last IP is what? 31. So I even made a mistake. I think I made a mistake. Should be 31. Sorry, the first IP, the last IP is what? This 14 plus and 15. 15 plus 16 is what? 31. This should be 31. The last IP cannot be 50, is called what? 31. So this what subnet is all about. This subnet helps in efficient use of a network, and it can help in troubleshooting. Maybe one particular subnet is in charge of telephone lines, the other one is in charge of any other thing, so it can help for easier troubleshooting. Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe, share and comment, so whenever I upload something like this, you'll be the first to get the notification. Thank you.